This is a Scion FRS, but it's not a normal Scion FRS. This one has some boosts to it. So today we're going to review it and see what is the FRS BRZ like to drive with a turbocharger on it. Is it the way Toyota should have made it from the beginning? Did we ruin the essence of the car? Today we'll find out. So this car, the big thing it has done to it is it has a built long block in the car. Built motor, closed deck, turbo, and tuned. And we're going to drive it and see what the driving characteristics of the FRS are like now with boost in it. Before, it was a great driver's car, slow, made you work for it, really had the essence of a Miata, where you had to work for the power and really rely on your handling and chassis dynamics to really throw the car around. How does this car change when you throw a turbocharger at it though? Is it even better now? Is it a great driver's car still? Is it still a visceral experience? Or have we changed this car into a straight line driving car? Today we will find out. So here we have the FA20. This long block was built by IAG. Long block is closed deck now, built bottom end. Cams are stock though. I think the idea is to retain some drivability and really just start off with, you know, going from 200 horsepower to about 300 wheel. So right now it's running a Borg-Warner turbo at about 7.5 pounds. It's being tuned via ECU tech, being remote tuned, and this car is making a roughly around 300 to 350 wheel right now. Like I said, it's being remote tuned right now because there really isn't many good Subaru tuners in Utah, believe it or not. Some of them have some shady past and not good backgrounds. So really the way to do it is get a remote tune from someone who's done a lot of these cars. And really that's sometimes the way to do it. So this car's been remote tuned, so we don't have a dyno number, but 300 to 350 wheel on pump gas is expected. Otherwise, for the most part, the car's pretty relatively stock. Body-wise, it just has wheels, wider wheels and tires. Suspension's still stock, and that's not a bad thing. These FRSs, they really do come with a competent set of shocks and springs from the factory. There's always room on the table, but it's not bad. This car was actually boosted prior on the stock block, and it blew the motor just cruising on the highway. And that kind of goes back to poor tuning options available in Utah. But now, it's a built bottom end, and it's been tuned by a professional who knows these cars in and out. So, let's see how it does. Alright, let's see how this thing does. Clutch is pretty aggressive in this car, so don't mind me. Alright, let's go second gear, 3000. Yeah, that is what the FRS needs, is that. So this feels like a 300 to 350 wheel horsepower car right now. It is at 7.5 pounds of boost right now, but it is very smooth to come onto power. It's not so smooth where it feels like a German car. Anyone that's driven a turbocharged German car knows what I mean by that. It still has like the essence of an old school turbo car, but it's not in your face hard. It just comes on, the ramp rate that it comes on is a lot less aggressive compared to that STI I drove in the last car review. So it still kind of hits you, but it's not like bam, it's kind of like bam. You guys get what I mean? That's a great analogy. And it doesn't, the power, the turbo, it doesn't overwhelm the car. It really doesn't. It feels great. It really matches the car's characteristics really good, actually. I can still go into a roundabout, right? Flick, flick, and come out of the corner nice. It does take a change of driving style to drive this car around corners and driving it hard, but it isn't, it still meshes together okay. Now, realistically, a naturally aspirated car is going to be the best when it comes to handling dynamics, right? And I'm sure some people still look at me like, why are you talking about the way the engine works when you're talking about the way the car handles? And really, the way the car comes off of power and goes on to power really does change the way you enter and exit a corner. So where the STI with the big turbo I drove a couple videos ago, where you really had to, you know, divorce the two characteristics of the car, this car mends it together a lot better. go ahead and give it a little pull again. Yeah, that feels great. The car is no longer a slouch. Now, it's not going to walk on every car in existence, right? But really, it does give it that adrenaline the car needs in the gas pedal, which this car didn't have before. Those who've driven a stock FRS know what I'm talking about. Go around a corner. Yeah, it feels great. Still handles super flat. Throw it around the corner. Spins, it will spin the tires out of corner exits, so there is a little bit of throttle management needed when you drive this car. It is fun though. It is fun. It does take more of a mature approach to driving the car fast though. Before, this car was extremely tossable in the corners and you just keep your foot matted. Now there's some throttle control at play here, right? Because if I hook into the corner and drive this car like you used to drive it, you're just sideways. You're just hanging at the rear end out. And really, that's fun. I like that. You guys know me. I like sideways fun. So what I really like about the power of this car now is the power now matches the capabilities of the chassis. Because let's be honest, this is a pretty lightweight chassis for a modern car. And it has a pretty good suspension geometry and engineering in it, right? It makes a good amount of mechanical grip. There's a lot of trick engineering in this car's suspension and chassis setup. But the one thing is, the car wasn't balanced from the factory. It was low on power. It could definitely handle more in that aspect. The car's chassis outhandled the motor, right? So it drove like a Miata, where you did a lot of momentum driving because you couldn't get the speeds high enough to really drive the car aggressively. That's not what I mean. It's kind of like a Miata where the car just, you know, it really hucked in the corners. You didn't use the brakes much, right? And you really didn't need you just kept the throttle pinned out of corners, right? It really kept the power down on the ground, especially when you start running a stickier compound tire. Now, with this power matches the chassis a lot better, especially with a set of coilovers and good like suspension alignment on this car. This power band really matches the capabilities of the car and really are a threat. I think what we got here is what everyone wanted the FRS to be from the factory. At least power-wise, this is what people wanted. And it's great. It's a great car. Like, you still have this great driving car, but now you got some boost to back it up as well. It's fun. It's fun like this. I really like the car like this. This is what the car was missing, right? That was the one ingredient the car was missing. Because everything else in this car is done great. Just the motor was lacking in the power department, and now we have that. So should Toyota have made it like this from the factory? I think I'm kind of split. Part of me likes the idea that they gave you a blank slate, a canvas to build. And what the owner of this car did, Taylor, he had that canvas, and this is his vision. He wanted a turbocharger, right? And he was able to build it the way he wanted to. Not the way the engineers at Toyota wanted, because they may have wanted something totally different, right? But he built it the way he wanted to, and we have a great car here now. So part of me thinks, yeah, Toyota could have gave more power from the factory, but the other part likes the idea that they were able to keep the cost of the car down, make it accessible, and you could build it into what you want, and then it injected life into the aftermarket. So a lot of companies now had a new platform to run their business off of, right? So I'm kind of split on, you know, what do I prefer? Should Toyota have done this? Because me personally, I would love this car, but instead with a supercharger setup, with the linear power band, more linear, right? Because of my driving style and the way I like to do it. And I think that's the great thing about the FRSs. They get so much smack talk, but they are a great FR platform that you can build the way you want to build it. And it can really, I mean, why do people modify cars? To a level, it's a characterization of themselves. It's them, you know, putting themselves out in the car, right? And the FRS is a great platform to do that with. It's a great representation of your blood, sweat, and tears into a car. So there you have it, guys. That is my review of a boosted FRS. I think it really is a great car. I really do think that was the missing piece of this car, was the power plant, really. And there's so many ways to spin it with this car. There's so many ways, but basically the moral of the story is injecting a little more power into this car, another 150 wheel into this car, really wakes it up and really makes it a great car, like just awesome street car. Like you got this cool sports car chassis, right? Great handling dynamics, and now you've got the power to back it up. So now when Carol in her minivan wants to race your FRS, you can actually gap her, because I guarantee you there's someone in a stock FRS watching this video right now who's definitely been pulled on by a V6 Odyssey. So with that said, guys, this is an awesome car to drive. I really appreciate driving it. And one thing, I want to shout out Taylor's business, Cerakote. He does a lot of ceramic coating up here in Cache Valley on both cars and guns. So if you need your ceramic coating done, hit him up. I'll have his info in the description down below. And check out his build as well on Instagram, okay guys? So really awesome car, and I'm really excited for these cars, especially as they get cheaper and the aftermarket grows even more. There are just so many ways to spin your FRS and BRZ. So, and this is just one good example of one way you can build yours. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.